What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dripping Creativity Podcast. I am your host, Chris Corvan, and today we are stepping into the world of the eclectic, electric artist who has shaped Calgary for like 2 decades. A musician, a designer, a storyteller. You may know him from Her Motives Are Silent and Midnight Gossip, but today we're going to sit back and unravel absolutely everything behind these projects, what goes into the heart of everything that is Mickey Valenz. Did I say that right?
You got it.
Fucking A. So epic. Here we go. Mickey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Same shit, different day.
Yep.
I type up a nice, beautiful intro and I flub it every time. It's just how it goes.
Yeah. Pop it up.
So, for those who don't actually know you, let's give a quick introduction.
Yeah, so I would classify myself as an audio-visual artist. I've kind of always done both in unison throughout my career, if you can call it that right now. But so I'm a musician, I'm a producer, but I also do video and graphic design, and because I've always kind of seen those as a joint venture. I see visuals for music, and I make music that makes people visualize things. So that's basically my wheelhouse.
and you've been doing it for a long ass time there. Like let's kind of go right back to the very beginning of everything. How did you get into all this stuff?
So, I mean, I'm fairly certain I'm neurodivergent.
Most of us are, my friend. Most of us are.
And also confirmed that with doctors and stuff. But even as a kid, just always was fascinated with music and films. And it was early on seeing movies like Back to the Future and Fantasia, the way the music and the animation or the cinematography work together. Like in those films particularly, the score and the soundtrack were characters that drove the story. Even without words in Fantasia, they had a narrative for each segment, and I was always fascinated by that and how you can bring people to a different world or make them picture the scenery. And so I was never classically trained in music. I just kind of learned and figured things out by ear, or just like watched people drum in music videos. I was fortunate to be an MTV Much Music kid, so I could watch music videos like constantly and then eventually go to concerts. And I didn't really touch a drum set, but I was learning how to drum well before I touched a drum set, just by like picturing it or tapping along or just finding things that sound like a hi-hat and sound like a snare on my desk or around me. And then eventually I grew up Christian, so in church I'd go to youth group and then we'd sneak into the sanctuary. Instead of like just hanging out and playing basketball, me and my friends would just jam in the with all the lights off. Just I'm on the drums, somebody would pick up a guitar and stuff like that. But then for writing, it was like I found my voice for writing on piano or keyboards. So I don't consider myself a pianist, but that's how I write, because I find the melodies and then build things around that. And I still kind of take that approach. It's very melodic first and then build the rest around it. So my first band was probably around late 90s, early 2000s. I started as a singer, but didn't really feel comfortable. And then when I became a drummer, that's where I really felt confident on stage. Like I felt, I feel good here. I can write here, I can perform here. And so I drummed for many bands in Calgary for quite a while. And then Her Motives was kind of always in the background, this solo project of mine where I would write these songs and not know what to do with them or how to make them come to life. So some of these songs have been with me for a long time, and they're finally getting released now because it took me that long to learn how to produce or figure out how to get all these layers I was imagining in my head out, right? So
it's so cool. It's very reminiscent of actually my writing style, especially with my poetry, my prose. I always actually tend to write to a beat myself. It's kind of one of those things like, I'll be listening to a song or whatever, and just something about the beat will kind of it's like almost a parody, but then it kind of just becomes its own thing. So I totally get that flow, and I love that so much. What about the art side of things? How did you kind of get into all that?
Yeah, so my dream as a kid was to be a cartoonist or an animator. Was very influenced by like Looney Tunes and Disney and Batman the Animated Series and things like that. Just how there was this, you could tell so much with the picture. And so I was always drawing, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters. I was I was very luxurious or blessed as a kid with good entertainment and very nuanced and creative art just constantly thrown at us. And so, yeah, I was always drawing, and that eventually became, oh, I'm about to graduate high school. What do I want to do with my life? And one of my teachers actually, it was for a computer class in high school, but I did an animated thing for the final project. He's like, you should really get into multimedia. Like, you got something here. So, yeah, he encouraged me to do that, and I went to state and I studied their new media production and design. And I also took some marketing and advertising classes there too. And yeah, just ever since then, even as a kid, was drawing posters for events, for even for people like adults or coming to me as a teenager, as a kid, can you draw something for this or make an invitation or make a poster? So I didn't realize that was graphic design back then. It was just me, oh cool, I can use this art and do something for somebody. And then yeah, so that slowly merged into graphic design. And then as technology advanced, I was like, how do we make this more dynamic? Oh, movement. So I got into motion graphics and video editing and animation and things like that along the way. So
just a whole lot of, this interests me, I need to know absolutely everything about it. And,
yeah.
And you just happen to carry it off into a career. Like, really, that's that's the dream for most of us. I know, very similar to my pathway myself. Mm-hmm. It's not, especially this season, there's been a lot more multimedia creators that I've been talking to, which has been amazing. Not just, a single genre type person. It's been a lot more just, people doing a whole bunch of different things, which is fantastic, because when you are like us and we do all the different things, it feels kind of like, should I just focus on one? Is it bad to have all these different things? And it's like, no, you know what? This is the shit we love to do, and it makes us happy, so we're gonna do it. And you have, and that's fucking awesome. So was there kind of a specific moment in your career when you felt a seismic shift, either personally or artistically, something that made you kind of rethink your creative direction?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of this kind of happened out of necessity. Like, I was a young teen in a band. It's like, oh, we need t-shirts, we need logos, we need posters. Somebody needs to do it. We don't have a budget to hire somebody, so we'll just do it ourselves, right? And a lot of what I kind of miss about the pre-internet days of the scene is people got really creative. They had to make their own zines, their own posters, their own album artwork and t-shirts, and then find a way to print it themselves, and whether it's make photocopies or whatever. And now everything's kind of like all just, oh, it's formatted in a square and it's all the same. And back then people were taking more chances with stuff, and I think I missed that tacticalness of it. So that's kind of my approach. Like, how do I still make this feel like art and not propaganda and not marketing materials and not content? Because I don't see myself as an influencer or a content creator. And I don't really think most artists want to do that, but they have to do that. And I think I'm losing the plot from your original question, but the shift in my career was, it was actually recently, like, between like 2018 and now, there's just been moments in my life where you get face to face with the reality that we're not immortal, life is short and we don't know what's gonna happen. And I think a lot of people felt this way post-pandemic too. Like, there's this, oh, I'm alive, I should do something with it, and not let work or society kind of dictate what I do with my time and my talent, and be like, okay, at the end of the day, what do I feel like I want to do or should be doing? Like, what's that thing that I feel in here, like that spark? And so my website is AMV Design. That was a fake company I made in SAIT for a project. It was my initials, because my first name is actually Alan, so it was Alan Michael Valenzuela. But I rebranded to make it art, music, video, design. So those were like the 4 key things I wanted to do with my life. And I'm like, I don't know what that means yet. I don't know how I'm gonna make all those 4 things work together, And so that's kind of where I just rebranded that site. And I was like, okay, that's my directive: art, music, video, and design. That's what I want to do, and I'm going to do that. And that's kind of, since I made that decision, everything's kind of happened unanimously. And the right people came to me, the right opportunities came. And once you start the ball rolling, people are excited and they want to be part of it, or they see what you're doing, whether you notice it or not. And then down the road, they're like, hey, I want to work with you. I've been watching you. It's like, really? Okay, cool. Like, so yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
You know what? It does. And I mean, it's actually kind of harking on the COVID side of things. Like that has, as detrimental as it was to everybody, for a lot of creatives, it actually kind of gave them the time to do something. I know for me especially, but so many writers, and especially so many writers, but musicians, everyone is just kind of like, there's the pre-COVID creatives and then the post-COVID creatives, and you get those ones who tried to start something before COVID and then found their area during COVID, and you can see kind of the wave of creative, and I love it so much. It's so good to see. Okay, so we kind of have all of that stuff covered now. We have the basis of who you are. Let's kind of talk about Midnight Gossip right now.
Sure.
So that is a project that you host, that you have with Nikki Martin.
Yeah.
And the two of you, this is kind of your thing here. So tell us all about it.
So yeah, ironically, I've known Nikki for many years. We met in the MySpace era, and just, back then in the Calgary scene, everybody was just doing their own thing, but there was also some like groups that were working together. So we've always kind of like been ships passing in the night throughout that. We'd go support each other's bands once in a while. She did more of acoustic stuff back then. And then around 2020, I quit socials for about 2 years. And that's when I kind of made that choice that, okay, I want to do music, and I don't know what that means yet, but I want to do it. So whether that's with my solo project or something else, I'm just putting that out there in the universe, being like, okay, I'm committing to this and I'm saying this seriously. So now I have to own up to it and just do it. And shortly after, during that time, Nikki had rebranded from her acoustic project Swallow Sorrow to Midnight Gossip. And she started dabbling with like electronic music and making demos and stuff. So when I came back, that's exactly what she was doing, and I was like paying attention to it. And I heard her she was just posting like short covers of her singing some songs, and there was a cover of Night Call by Kavinsky and a cover of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, and I'm like, oh, I could picture it being bigger than that. And I messaged her, and I always encourage people, try to tap into what their dream is and give them the encouragement that they can do it. And through those discussions, and we were also talking about mental health, because we both had posted stuff about like dealing with that and how we've been processing it, and we just realized, you know what, we kind of have a similar goal and similar taste in music. Let's try to work together and see what happens. So we initially met, I listened to some of her demos, and I was like, okay, I can picture where I can take this. This one, I'm not sure where to take it yet, but I'm sure we can figure it out. And yeah, so we became a band, and we released Streetlights as a demo in 2022, December. We were like, it might be neat before we do something in 2023 to just like release something for winter, maybe a Christmas cover or a dark winter cover, like some of those songs that are just tap into that. She's like, I actually wrote something in 2011 that we could repurpose. So it was one of her old acoustic songs, and it was literally supposed to be a demo, but then it started getting radio play on like CBC, X92. We're like, okay, I guess this is our debut single with no planning, no proper marketing, just like, surprise, here's a song from this band. And so that kind of became our lead single. And then that was the only song we hadn't released for a long time, because shortly after, we got invited to perform at the Satellite Music Festival in Drumheller, and we were opening for Loon, which is the artist Lights, her DJ alias is Loon, and DJs like Felix Cartel, and we're like, and Ruby Waters, and we're like, okay, we need to make our live set really good. So we shifted focus from releases to developing a solid hour-long festival-ready live set. So that became our focus. That's why we didn't release a lot, because we needed to build this live set and make it sound good and make it dynamic. And that took and we only had like a couple months to do it. Like our first show was April of 2023 at Gravity Cafe, and then by August that year we were playing at Satellite. So it was a big jump from a cafe to the festival. And yeah, that's kind of the origin story of Midnight Gossip.
That is, I'm gonna flat out say it, that's fucking insane, dude. It's like, holy shit. First off, for those that don't know, Lights is Canadian royalty. I don't give a shit.
Oh,
I love Lights.
amazing.
I have sent so many emails to try to get her on this podcast.
Yeah, maybe she will now that you tag her.
Yeah, here we go. So Lights and Biff Naked are the two that I must have, because I don't give a shit. Those two, just my jams throughout the years, always. So anyways,
and her new song Damage.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Right now. Oh God. I'm going to link that one just because it is so damn good. Actually, like, side tangent, Lights acoustic. It's like February Air is still one of my all-time top play songs.
You just reminded me of something that's important, I should say. Speaking of February, me and Nikki went to see Lights in concert at February at the Palace, and she didn't have an opener. There was like a drag performance opening, and we were like, man, we would love to open for Lights one day. And then in August we were. It was like, wait, what? So we accidentally manifested that.
Hey, you know what?
I mean?
It goes to show not only the dedication you guys have, but the talent behind it and getting it done the right way. I mean, hitting CBC, hitting X929, which is all time. Like, that's my station, just as it is. CJSW, like, you guys.
Those are our people. Yeah,
exactly. Like, you guys have done it, the local scene in the right way, and with the right sound, where it got you all of the shit that just blew up. And it's so awesome to see that coming from indie author or indie artists, just because it is rare, and it's nice to know it can happen, you know. So congratulations, because that shit is unbelievably amazing. I'm very excited to talk to both of you guys all about just because it's just going to be so much fun. Okay, so we got that excitement and journey right there, which is absolutely insane. Let's kind of step it now back to the original one of Her Motives Are Silent. Talk to me about that one.
So that one kind of started MySpace era, just me fooling around with production just on the side. Like, I was playing in rock bands and stuff, but I was always interested in electronic music, trip hop, hip hop, just like the production aspect and making cool soundscapes, and, you know, bands like Massive Attack and Aphex Twin and things like that, Radiohead. I was just like, loved that side of them that was more this weird abstract journey. And so I had to start modestly with like Fruity Loops, not FL Studio, like literally Fruity Loops, like back in the day. And I started making these like ambient, dark, like, I guess they were trip hop tracks, but there was no vocals or anything. It was just these vibes. I don't even have them anymore. I've lost all of those with my old computer. And I was trying to think of a name for something, and I wanted something that was mysterious, somewhat dark, but also had more meaning to it. So I came up with the name Her Motives Are Silent, and I leave it up to the listener to interpret what that means. And it's funny because a lot of people think it's like a bad thing, it's a sinister thing, it's an evil thing. That's actually not. Like, that's just their perspective is making it that, because there are positive motives out there too. That's why they're silent. You don't know people's intentions or their motives. And the her, I can go into what that is, but I'd rather people find the little nuggets that I'm leaving out there and discover what it actually is referring to, like who the her is. So I kind of like people guessing, you know, keep the mystery there. But yeah, musically, I was in a band and I started writing some piano parts for that band, because it was just like me on drums, my friend on guitar, and a vocalist. And then my friend on guitar played bass on the record, but we never could find a bassist. And so it was just like missing something. So I started writing these piano parts, and then that band disbanded, and I like had these piano parts that I really liked. So I was like, maybe I can turn these into my songs. And that's kind of where like a few of my first songs started, and I started getting more comfortable as a lyricist. Like, I always wrote poems too, like you just. And so I just started writing these songs, and they became like a concept album. And I was like, okay, this is almost too daunting for me to take on, and I kind of gave up on it for a while and revisited it back and forth a few times. So that album that I'm going to be releasing, I'm going to say it, February 2025. It's something that's been part of my life since like around 2011, just didn't know how to make it happen. And throughout that time, I wasn't working on it the whole time, but like I had spurts where I would like, oh, I can add this, or I should take that song out, but replace it with this, or I figured out how to do the thing that was in my head. It took me that long to find the tools or the people or for the technology to catch up in a way where I could transmute my thoughts into a sonic reality. Because let's be honest, we don't all have access to full orchestras or full bands even, or people who understand what you're trying to say. Like, I know talented musicians, but they're so technical that when I try to explain my ideas, they're like, huh? So it's like, it's not just about skill, it's about being able to embrace the abstract as well. So that's what's fun about that project. It's just like letting each song become its own thing. And I think the album will surprise people because there are genre jumps, there are left turns mid-song where you're just like, I did not see that coming. And I'm like, neither did I when I wrote it. It just happened. So, and yeah, lyrically, it's very vulnerable. A lot of it is personal, but some of it is influenced or inspired by things I've read or movies I've seen or conversations I've had with people. But a lot of it is like borderline autobiographical. I think every writer kind of puts a lot of themselves into their art, even if they deny that it's not about me. So it'll be interesting to see how people, react to it all. And Running is going to be on that album. So, but I felt that song was strong enough on its own to let it have its own moment and I guess it can be considered a lead single, even though I called it an EP. Like, yeah.
I mean, really, it could be whatever you want. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And it happens all the time. Just remix it a little bit and then call it a remix. Yeah. There you go. But actually, going into that, you mentioned there about switching genres and all of that stuff midstream. You do like to challenge the traditional structures of everything, blending genres and unexpected sounds. How do you kind of approach that challenge in creating something innovative while making sure it resonates with the audience?
Yeah, I don't think it's something I'm like, I have to do it. I think it's a byproduct of the music I listen to. So I listen to a lot of late 90s music, but primarily music between the 60s and 90s is like my wheelhouse, and a little bit of early 2000s, like some of that early emo and post-hardcore and post-rock stuff also inspires me a lot too. But there's something about the late 90s where you had like Nine Inch Nails and Massive Attack and Portishead, and they weren't limiting themselves to one sound. They're like, no, you can put a fat hip hop beat over a very vulnerable vocal with like chunky guitars, and it can change the whole vibe. Or like bands like Uncle, or I guess they're a group, but their albums just were unpredictable. But a lot of music, even the pop music back then, was mixing rock with hip hop and adding elements of like shoegaze and punk, and people were just treating it like a playground, less like a business. Like music now, the popular music feels very like, they're still good creative artists, but a lot of the top 40 stuff is very like, this is what the industry wants you to do. Yeah. Whereas back then, I think people were just playing. And I think that's what it is. For me, it's like, when I'm writing a song and I'm like, oh, I could take it here, I could do this vibe switch. Or as a drummer, I'm like, oh, it would be cool if it went halftime here, or if I added like this kind of chunkier or beefier snare here, or it goes into a breakbeat thing. So for both projects, Her Motives and Midnight Gossip, it's just like, what's best for the song, or what's helping drive the narrative of the lyrics, but also the vibe. And so it's not like, some songs are pretty static, but most of them have dynamics, and it's just figuring out, okay, what feels right, and checking in with Nikki, do you like where this is going, or do you think we need to tone it down or build it up? And that just comes with experience too, I think, with musicians, building dynamics. Like, the worst thing a band can do is play fully loud the whole time or fully quiet the whole time. And it doesn't matter on the genre, just like have these moments of dynamics. we call it making moments. Like Tom Jackson talks about that a lot, and it's something we talk about as a band. It's, whether it's live or in production, have these moments where it's like, it could be something simple like pausing or cutting an instrument out and bringing it back, or just like highlighting a lyric or highlighting an instrument. And that's what people remember. And melody, like for me, melody is the main thing. Like for me, it's more important than even chords. Like, like if there's not a melody lyrically or a melodic hook, like a guitar or a synth driving the song, it's forgettable. Like those are the earworms. And it's not to manipulate people to remember your song. It's just how I write, because if I can't find it, I'm gonna forget what it is, right? So I'm very melody driven too, because I think that's what makes music accessible, no matter how creative or experimental you get. Like even the most intricate, like post-hardcore or experimental bands, when they have those moments where it's like a looping melody, even if it's for a few measures, that's what you remember. And I even told this to guitarists too, like when you're writing a solo, make it something that somebody can whistle along to or sing along to in the car, because like you have that Say It Ain't So by Weezer or Queen Bohemian Rhapsody, people love to sing the guitar solo, and if it's just like fast noodling, you can't. So if you want it to be memorable, make it simple enough that a crowd can chant it. Like that's what Coldplay success is, people like chanting the oh and simple melodies, because they can, their brain can process it and they can easily sing along. And subconsciously I'm doing all this. It's not like I bring all this to the table when I write. I don't know, some songs just, I don't know where they come from, to be honest. It's just playing around, and then okay, I have this part and I have this part, how do I bridge them together, how do I make them flow together, you know? So
no, definitely. Yeah, well, it just, there was so many points in there that I wanted to talk about, and I've lost all of them now because
I know I talk a lot.
Well, no, you just kept going to another good point that I wanted to bring up, and it was like, shit. I didn't have my notepad with me. See, that's my fault. I should have had the notepad with me, you know?
Okay, you can rewatch this and then interview me again with specific questions.
But we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about this one here before we move on. Yeah. And going just specifically about melody, because number one, melody is hugely important to me as well. When it comes to it, like even with the flow of things, it's very, it's like writing a movie. And having to hit specific beats. Like if you are continuously pushing an audience in one specific emotion without giving them a break, they will burn out. And it's the same with the song, right? You have to give them a drop back down to just take a second to breathe and then bring it right back up. And like those are the memorable moments where you drop off into that silent and then just right back up with the chorus. Like those, that type of flow is extremely important, and you know, knowing you're putting that in there, that's awesome. I think the biggest question that comes out of it for me, and it's something I've talked about with other musicians before, when you are going to create a song, do you start with the lyrics and build it off of that, or do you start with the beat and build the lyrics off of that?
Both. So some songs I get inspired to write lyrics, and I'm like, I have my lyrics kind of loosely there. I'm like, this could be a chorus, this could be a verse. And then I just kind of find a rhythm in it. And if I can find a melody, I'll actually just record a vocal melody and then build around that. And then that's where the music comes from. But other times I have these instrumentals and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Like Running, when I first wrote it, it was just on a Rhodes piano, because there was a period of my life I was like, I just want to do minimalistic Rhodes and nothing else, right? So Running started like that. And then I didn't know what to sing on it. I wrote these lyrics and they didn't work, and those lyrics ended up becoming a different song that will be on my album. So Running I kind of put on the back burner, and then I was doing this remix contest. Like during COVID, I did a lot of these remix contests, and Junkie XL, he's a very talented producer, like he does scores for movies, right? So he did the Mad Max one, and he did the Justice League Snyder cut. And there was a remix contest for the song he did for the Justice League Snyder cut. And it was that scene where Flash is running, and there's this guitar part, and he gave like the guitar stems to do a remix contest. So I made a remix and entered it, and just hearing like the way the guitar like built this momentum but it also felt like you were moving in reverse and in slow motion, but also feeling very fast at the same time. Like it was this weird like push and pull of momentum without changing tempo. And so I was like, huh. And subconsciously I absorbed that. And then when I was working on Running, I added in some guitars with delays, and it gave the song this new energy. And then that's kind of where the lyrics kind of came from. Is like, I felt like I was running, but running away from myself. And it kind of, you know, those scenes in a movie where you're like in a nightmare, or maybe you've had a nightmare where you're trying to run away, but you're in slow motion. Like you're trying to run as fast as you can, but your body's just in slow motion. And I think anybody who's struggled with like depression or anxiety feels like that kind of paralysis state. And so that kind of drove those lyrics. And that all started with melody, right? Like it was these parts that were, first it was on a Rhodes, then it was on a guitar, and then vocal melody, the lyrics kind of just fit. And what's weird about that song is it's one verse, then 4 versions of the chorus, and then a breakdown, and then an outro. So it's like I never go back to any part. It's like constantly moving forward and then out. And so I tried to rewrite it in a way where it was like verse, chorus, and I couldn't. It just didn't feel right to go back to something once I've already got to the next part. So that's what's interesting about that song. It just became parts, like sections. It's almost like a classical thing where they have the 4 movements, but within a 4-minute song. It's just kind of weird. So I think that's part of my ADHD too, is like to keep things interesting. I like to mix it up and take it places, or the lyrics will inspire a moment. Like in that song, one of the lines is, "I'm running out of time." I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if I hang on that and have the tempo speed up. And I do that in the song. Like when I'm repeating that line, the tempo actually gradually speeds up and it builds tension. I'm holding like there's Beatles moment, you know, A Day in the Life, when they let the strings swell. I kind of did that there. So it's like building that anxiety. And then it cuts to the outro, which is more like okay, just like let go, stop trying to control, just surrender, and you'll be all right. Like that's kind of where it leads to after that point, because I didn't want to just leave it hanging there, because it doesn't feel good, right? Like you were talking about, it has to kind of go somewhere. And so yeah, that song was weird because I didn't plan it that way. It started with just musical parts, and then the lyrics kind of informed that, and I did a little bit of back and forth while working on it. So
so a little bit of everything is the bottom line. And that's, you know what, that's fantastic. It's nice to change it up, because then it gives that uniqueness to each song as well. Like, you know, you start following a formula, and then suddenly you get a whole bunch of formula, you know.
Well, now, I don't think I could take that approach for every song. I'd go crazy. Like,
so okay. Yeah. Now, first off, I'm going to say this to everyone, because I know my bestie Sarah is going to kick my ass. The key to Nickelback's success was formula, right? Yeah. Hands down. And I think the problem is, and this actually goes back to something I remember during the previous thing, is like that's kind of what the industry saw, is like, oh, this formula works. And that's why you see so many songs following that same thing, especially during that time, like 2000s and all that. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Nickelback, nothing against them.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Silver Side Up is still one of my favorite albums of all time.
I don't like necessarily listen to them all the time, but they definitely inspired. Any drummer started doing the.
Oh yeah. Well, shit.
Because it's simple but effective, right?
Well, yeah, and the drop off there, right? With that, the drop off and then bringing it right back with the hook into the chorus. Yeah. It's like that's a staple of their songs, and it works every fucking time.
Exactly. And I don't think formula is a bad thing.
No.
And I don't even think pop music's a bad thing. Like I listen to a lot of it. I vibe with a lot of it, because obviously there's something there that resonates with a mass amount of people, because it's tapping into something, right? And I think when people are like, oh, I want to do the antithesis of that, that's why they start making unlikable music. Like
legit, like that's, you know, it's popular and good music because it's good. It sounds good. You make the opposite of that, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it depends what you're trying to achieve. Like for me, for music, it has to make people feel something. So you're kind of the master of, what do I want to make people feel? If I want them to feel a little uncomfortable, like in that section of Running, you add something that builds tension, or you add something that's a little dissonant, and that's a tool you can use. But if you want people to feel comforted or healed, you find frequencies or tones that make you feel that way, and that translates to the audience. And I think that's why like the cinematic approach is very important. Like when people are scoring a movie, they're watching the scene, finding a way to like make that scene enhanced. And I think that's the artist's job, is like, what am I serving to the scene or to the story of this song? So it's interesting with Midnight Gossip, because Mickey will have like lyrics or vocal parts, and then I build instruments around it. Like the song I sent you the sneak peek of, it just started with her like singing that song over an ambient loop. There was like nothing, and I built that instrumental around her voice and got inspired and added these instruments. And when I sent it back to her, she's like, where did this come from? I'm like, I don't know. Like, but then she loved it because it was like, it helped drive home each vocal part. Like it didn't overpower her vocals, it actually gave space for them. And then certain lyrics had a punch to them because we'd add an instrument just to highlight that, or we'd cut things out just to highlight that. And it just kind of became a 3-minute and 33-second journey with so many moments in that short period of time.
Definitely. Well, okay. So right now, I'm going to say at this exact moment, I'm going to clip in a 15-second track version of that song right here.
It's like I'm walking on a tightrope. I can't go left, I can't go right. I need to balance my weight.
Okay, there we go. Just
never before heard, unreleased.
Well, there's a good chance this is going to come out after the release.
Okay.
So just because I've been dealing with mental health issues that have slowed down my scheduling.
Sorry to hear that.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of move into the visual art stuff here to kind of finish off. Then we're going to get into the rapid section, and then we're going to move into off the record. Let's actually talk about the Atomic CD box set, which you designed. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I can grab it. It might make more sense. So, Adamus has a lore to it. So it was an amazing band that was like around 2014 to 2020, and I think things started earlier than that, but there's these great bands in Calgary called Soma State and Pure City, and those bands kind of disbanded, and the remaining members became Adamus, and then my friend Brian joined as well on bass, and it kind of fizzled out into a solo project with the drummer Nate. And unfortunately he passed away in 2020, and they had this one song released, just one song, and it was blowing up. Like it got so many views on YouTube, and it was this huge song, and then they just kind of disappeared. And constantly there was comments on the YouTube channel like, where's the album? Where did these guys go? Is this a joke? Is this a prank? Like, did we just get punked, or what happened? And me and Brian were talking one day, and he's like, yeah, we actually got access to the recordings, and we can finish it. We can finish the albums. And then we realized there's so much. There was the band's version of the album, then Nathan had his own version of the album, and then they had all these live demos too that they didn't release. So we were just like, you know what, might as well just release it all. And so it became this trilogy box set. Ironically, it's called The Void, and I know that's your branding too. We called it The Void box set, and so we just got creative with it, and we made this box. This triangle was, Doug Cook made a music video for them for the song 12 Strands, and this triangle was in it for like 2 seconds, but I ended up using it because there's a lot of symbolism there. The 3 triangles represents 3 albums. It's a trilogy. It looks like an A, but it also looks like a V for The Void. So there's like a lot of thought in it. And we went with the black and gold box because it just looked really cool. Brian found these boxes and ordered them. Everything just we had an event, and everything made it like just days before the event. So Brian and his partner, the 2 of them were just like putting together this box set. So yeah, when you open it up, you see a picture of Nate and a message from the family, and then like the Adamus thank yous. And then we have the 3 albums, so I'll kind of go through them. So this is the visuals from this album are from Doug Cook's video. I'm like, this video is visually striking. Let's use it in the artwork. because it would be a disservice not to.
Oh, definitely.
So that
No,
kind of
that's-
became the theme of the CD for the album. Like all these visuals are representational of the music video, so it all ties in together. And please go watch the 12 Chains music video. It's amazing. And yeah, so that's like the first one. And then this was Nate's original design, so I just respected his design for his version of the album. So that was the cover he had designed. And then this is like Nate's workstation where he was like working on the album and stuff. And there's like hidden things in here. Like there's an alien in here because Nate was kind of into that. Oh, sorry, the reflections. Kind of into that science fiction, slightly cerebral horror kind of stuff. And I just made a simple track listing on the back. And then the live one, we kind of had fun with this. We used some photos that Doug had taken of them performing, and just like I added like this kind of grungy texture. There's a band called Refused, kind of is inspired by their kind of approach to album artwork. And then inside's pretty basic. It's just kind of ties it all together. And we have a striking photo of Nate's like silhouette on the back to kind of just be like respect to him. And it was kind of an emotional cathartic process. And another cool thing in there is like Nate had done so much artwork for the band. He was very much like me, where he was like the visual artist for the band. So we took old artwork he did and t-shirt ideas and posters and included them as like these art cards within the box set, because his art was just so beautiful, and we wanted it to like not just be on a wall to promote one show and then disappear. So we like gave that. And then we also have like some band photos from over the years, like some memories of just like all these band photos from all their shows, because they were pretty prolific in Calgary. And it's so sad that like it had to go that way, you know. We all miss Nate, but we also wanted this music to be heard, because it was like, it's really good music, and it's just, you know, we wanted it to live on and respect his legacy. He put so much work into the album and into this band in general. So it's like, we really wanted to give the fans and the family and the friends like this memento to like hold on to. So we did a live screening. So they played Doug Cook's 2 music videos, and then I made 2 visualizers as well. And those are all on their YouTube channel, their new YouTube channel. Fortunately, they got locked out of the old one because Nate was running it. So please go support their new YouTube channel. They need more followers and views on there. But yeah, so yeah, we played the 2. Basically, the Green album has 4 tracks, but they're really long tracks. So we played those 4 tracks with full videos at the Globe Theater, and it was really profound. And like a lot of people showed up. There was a lot of friends and family, and it was just really cool to kind of just hear and see the music in that setting, because they were always a very cinematic project as well. And whenever they performed, Nate had visuals on a projector behind them and stuff, so it kind of made sense. And even for the director Doug Cook, it was like emotional for him to see his videos in a theater, because like the original premiere they did for the first video, they kind of did it at a brewery on like small TVs and stuff. So it was like, it kind of felt appropriate to like give this release this big, you know, cinematic moment, and to have the people there that actually knew or cared about the members to just like celebrate this release with them. Because the saddest thing that happens so much is us as musicians, we keep stuff to ourselves, and then it sits on our hard drive, and either we lose it or we delete it, or unfortunately the reality is we're not immortal. And it's like, it kind of motivated me too. It's like, okay, you need to finish your stuff and put it out there. Don't hold on to it. There's magic in release too. The word itself is called release. And when you don't release music, you're holding it all, like the stress, the pressure to make it good, the you know, the emotions tied to all those songs. It's weighing on you as a person, and it can be a lot for artists. And I don't think people talk about that side of things. It's like how much pressure we put on ourselves. It's like, it has to be good, it has to be perfect, but I gotta still fix it. And that can go on forever. Like, there's no way to make it perfect. Like, it just has to exist as it is, and sometimes there's something about the imperfections that make people feel that human connection to it. And so I think I'm learning that through all this, to like be open to letting things go and not trying to harbor that perfectionism, and just being like, you know what, it is what it is, and in 10 years somebody's just gonna do a remastered version apparently, because that's what all these bands on Spotify and stuff are doing. But yeah, so that's my encouragement to all of you. Like, first of all, go watch the Adamus videos on their YouTube channel and go listen to their music. Or if you want to buy the box set, I think there's a few left on their Bandcamp page. And so, and yeah, just release your stuff. Don't be scared. Whether it's one song or a poem or an idea, just put it out there, and or find people to help you get it out there if you can't do it on your own, because I know it's a daunting process. It really is.
Definitely. And you know, I think the problem is you made that such a great ending, and we're not done.
That's okay.
That's the
You can
problem.
cut it in a different order.
No, you ruined it all. It's all ruined. But no, that was absolutely beautiful. Every aspect of that. I'll make sure to grab those links from you, and I'll include them in the show notes for sure. So actually, just as we kind of round off this here, before we jump into the rapid fire questions, I do need to know, what do you have coming up?
So yeah, Midnight Gossip has a new single called Tightrope that will be coming out, we're hoping, early this October. We kind of had to push the date back a bit for reasons, but we're really excited about that. We think it's a great track that will resonate with people. It's about letting go and just embracing the unknown. The song's called Tightrope. It's about when you're feeling like you're walking this rigid line and you don't know where to go. You can't go left, you can't go right, you can't go backwards. The only option is to keep that balance, go forward, or just take that leap of faith and jump into something, whether that's taking a risk or accepting an opportunity, or just giving yourself a chance to do something new, whether that's creative or personal. And that's what the song's basically about. It's just like giving you that empowerment to not feel like you have to feel stuck in that moment, and just using that fear as like a propel motion to like push you forward into what you're supposed to do, or what will bring you peace, or, you know, new opportunities. So we're excited about that. And as for Her Motives Are Silent, I do have that full concept album I told you about that I've been working on, and I really want to drop it this February. So I'm going to continue just wrapping that up and making it happen. And yeah. And
as soon as you do, we'll bring you back on here to talk all about that one for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the rapid fire questions here before I move into the off the record, which is going to be kind of short because we're slowly running out of time. So here we go. Prepare yourself. Rapid fire. Let's see what we can do here. Most played song on your playlist right now?
It's probably... Sorry, my brain just went blank.
That's the whole point of rapid fire, just to get you all like, oh shit.
Yeah. Honestly, right now, I think it's a Kiasmos song. There's this Icelandic guy named Oliver Arnolds, and he has an electronic duo that he's part of, and I've been listening to their latest album a lot. It's really cool.
Hell yeah. One album you wish you could have been a part of?
Oh, like every Mute Math or Radiohead album.
Solid choice. Solid choice. A dream visual collaboration. Who do you want to make something visual with? Be it a movie, animation, whatever.
Yeah. I'm going to butcher his name. Dennis Viviu or whatever, who did Arrival and Dune and Blade Runner 2049. He's one of my favorite directors. I just can't pronounce his name because my French sucks. But
well, and you don't hear it enough. That's the problem. You need to hear it more.
Dennis.
Yes.
He's amazing. Or I would just love to direct videos for more artists and or do their album artwork, kind of like what I did with Adamus, just be able to collaborate more with amazing artists.
100% agree. Best late night snack to go to?
Ooh. Superstore decadent chocolate chip cookies with a glass of milk.
Not bad, not bad, not bad. Tea or coffee?
coffee. I need my coffee. I love tea, but I need my coffee.
My dude, my dude. And the final, most important, unbelievably difficult question I'm going to ask you this entire time. Where can people find you and all of your work?
So I have a Mickey Valenz link tree. Everything is there. Or if they Google Midnight Gossip, it's spelled MIDNITE Gossip, or Her Motives Are Silent, they'll find all my stuff. Or if they Google Mickey Valenz, they'll find me too. Yeah.
Definitely. And this is going to wrap up the main section. We're going to jump into Off the Record here for the Creative Coffee Cafe community and Patreon members. Mickey, thank you so much for being here. You are unbelievably fucking amazing. It's just that this has been an absolute blast. I've been so thankful. If you are still here listening, thank you so much for being here and joining us. This has been fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, do all of that fun shit, because, you know, we need the reach. It's going to be a lot of fun. I promise. We got some good shit on the way. My name is Chris Corvan. You can find me everywhere at Chris of the Void. This has been the Dripping Creativity Podcast, part of the Creative Coffee Cafe community. And until next time, remember, stay creative and stay inspired. See ya.